What would you do if the person who could save your entire empire was the same person you just destroyed? This is a story about Marcus Steele, a billionaire who had everything: power, wealth, respect, and in one single day he lost it all, not to a competitor, not to the stock market, not to a scandal, he lost it to his own pride. And the man who saved him was the same man he fired that very morning for giving his daughter a hug. This is not just a story about redemption, it's a story about the invisible people we walk past every single day, the ones we never see until it's too late. Before we continue, please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell. This means a lot to us. Thank you very much. Toronto, Canada, June 14, 2024, the day Northbridge Dynamics almost collapsed. Let me take you there. The financial district of downtown Toronto glittered in the early morning sun. Glass towers stretched toward the sky like monuments to human ambition. Among them stood Northbridge Dynamics Incorporated, 47 floors of steel, glass, and corporate power. The building wasn't just an office, it was a fortress, a kingdom, and at the top of that kingdom, ruled Marcus Steele. Marcus Steele wasn't born rich, 52 years old, self-made, brilliant. He built Northbridge from nothing, starting as a logistics software company in a basement apartment, transforming it into a $3.2 billion enterprise. He had the respect of shareholders, the fear of competitors, the envy of rivals, but respect, real respect, that was different. You see, Marcus Steele didn't lead through inspiration, he led through intimidation. Walk into a meeting 5 minutes late, you'd be escorted out by security before lunch, miss a quarterly target, your desk would be cleared by Friday, question his decisions, you'd be blacklisted across the entire industry. In the boardrooms of Bay Street, people whispered about Marcus Steele, some called him a visionary, others called him a tyrant, but everyone agreed on one thing: you didn't cross Marcus Steele and survive. 3 floors below Marcus Steele's corner office, in the gray hallways where no executive ever walked, worked a man who knew more about the company than Marcus himself. His name was William Carter, but everyone just called him, well, the janitor. William Carter was 71 years old, thin, gray-haired, back slightly bent from years of mopping floors and emptying trash bins. He wore the same dark blue uniform every day. Northbridge Dynamics logo stitched over the breast pocket. Most people never noticed him. To the executives rushing past, he was part of the furniture, a shadow, invisible. But Will didn't mind. He'd learned long ago that invisibility had its advantages. When you're invisible, people talk in front of you, they forget you're listening, they forget you understand. Will had worked at Northbridge for 12 years of cleaning conference rooms, 12 years of emptying executive trash cans, 12 years of listening, but Will Carter hadn't always been a janitor. 20 years ago, William Carter was a different man. He'd been a senior operations consultant at a mid-sized logistics firm, MBA from Western University, 23 years of experience. A comfortable salary, a beautiful home in Mississauga, and a wife he loved more than life itself. Her name was Rose Carter, sweet and intelligent, the kind of woman who could light up a room just by walking into it. They'd been married 34 years, but then, cancer came, stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The doctors gave her 6 months, she fought for 18, Will spent every dollar they had, experimental treatments, private hospitals, specialists from Boston, New York, Houston. $340,000 in medical bills. They sold the house, cashed out his retirement, borrowed from family, and when Rose finally passed, Will was left with nothing but debt. And a daughter, her name was Naomi Carter, and she was his reason to keep breathing. Naomi Carter was 23 years old, brilliant, driven, beautiful in the way Rose had been, same dark eyes, same fierce determination. She'd just graduated from the University of Toronto, Bachelor of Commerce, specialization in strategic management, 4.0 GPA, Dean's List, valedictorian. But more than that, Naomi was her father's pride. While Will scrubbed floors and cleaned toilets to make ends meet, Naomi studied. While he worked double shifts to pay her tuition, she excelled. Every night, when Will came home to their tiny one-bedroom apartment in Scarborough, exhausted, back aching, hands raw from chemicals, Naomi would sit with him at their small kitchen table. And she'd tell him about her day, about her classes, her presentations, and her professors who said she was destined for greatness, and Will would smile, because in those moments, he could see Rose. The graduation ceremony was scheduled for June 14. 10 a.m., Convocation Hall, University of Toronto. Naomi had begged her father to attend. "Dad, please, you've sacrificed everything for this moment, you have to be there." But Will was scared of asking Marcus Steele for time off, scared of losing the job that kept them fed, so he'd lied to his daughter, "I'll try, sweetheart, but if I can't make it, just know I'm so proud of you." Naomi had hugged him, and whispered, "One day, Dad, I'm going to change our lives, you won't have to clean floors anymore, I promise." Will believed her, but he had no idea that promise would be tested far sooner than either of them imagined. June 14, 2024. 5:47 a.m., Marcus Steele's phone vibrated on his nightstand. He'd barely slept, 3 hours, maybe 4, he grabbed the phone, 23 missed calls, 47 emails, all marked urgent, his heart sank. The first email was from David Kwan, Chief Financial Officer, subject, critical, Project Sentinel failure. Marcus sat up in bed, his hands trembled as he opened it. "Marcus, we have a catastrophic situation, Project Sentinel has failed, the AI logistics integration we launched last month has crashed nationwide, every warehouse hub from Vancouver to Halifax is offline, no shipments moving, no inventory tracking. Complete system paralysis, we're hemorrhaging $2.3 million per hour. Worse, the crash triggered a clause in our credit facility, Royal Bank is freezing our $180 million line of credit pending investigation, we've got 48 hours to fix this, or we default, and if we default, we're done. Emergency board meeting, 7 a.m., don't be late, David." Marcus stood, his jaw clenched, 47 floors below, William Carter was already at work, he'd arrived at 5 a.m., same as always, while the executives slept in their Rosedale mansions. Will was mopping the third-floor hallway, while Marcus Steele panicked in his penthouse. Will was emptying trash cans in the executive conference room, and as he worked, he overheard something, a conversation between two senior engineers. They didn't notice him, they never did, "The problem isn't the software," one said, "it's the server architecture, we're trying to run enterprise-level AI on a mid-tier cloud infrastructure, it can't handle the load." "I know," the other replied, "but Marcus won't listen, he approved the cheap option to save costs, now it's imploding. Someone needs to tell him, you tell him, I like my job." They laughed nervously, and walked away. Will kept mopping, but his mind was working. He'd heard this story before, 20 years ago, at his old firm, they'd faced a similar crisis, he knew exactly what was wrong, and he knew exactly how to fix it, but who would listen to a janitor? 10 a.m., Convocation Hall, University of Toronto, the auditorium was packed. Families filled the seats, cameras flashed, graduates in black robes smiled for photos. Naomi Carter sat in the third row, her hands fidgeted with the tassel on her cap, she kept glancing at the entrance, hoping, praying, that her father would walk through those doors. But he didn't. The ceremony began, names were called, Naomi's row stood, and when they called her name, Naomi Elizabeth Carter, Bachelor of Commerce, Strategic Management, graduating with high distinction. She walked across the stage, accepted her diploma, smiled for the camera and scanned the audience one last time. Her father wasn't there, she tried not to cry, but walking back to her seat, a single tear rolled down her cheek. But she understood, he'd tried, but Marcus Steele wouldn't let him, and in that moment, Naomi made a decision. If her father couldn't come to her graduation, she'd bring her graduation to him. Meanwhile, 47 floors above the streets of Toronto, hell was breaking loose, the executive boardroom was packed, Marcus Steele stood at the head of the table. His face was pale, jaw tight, eyes bloodshot from lack of sleep. Around him sat the company's leadership, David Kwan, CFO, frantically typing on his laptop, Rebecca Torres, COO, on her third espresso, hands shaking. Dar. Amir Hassan, CTO, looking like he'd aged 10 years overnight, and 8 other executives, all looking at Marcus, waiting. Marcus slammed his fist on the table. How did this happen? Everyone flinched. Amir cleared his throat. The system overloaded. The cloud infrastructure couldn't handle the AI processing demands. We're talking about millions of data points per second across 19 distribution hubs. The servers buckled. Why wasn't this caught in testing? Marcus roared. It was, Rebecca said quietly. I flagged it in the March review, recommended we upgrade to enterprise-grade servers, but it was cut from the budget. Marcus's eyes narrowed. Are you blaming me? Rebecca went silent. Everyone did, because they all knew Marcus had personally approved the cuts, to boost quarterly profits, to impress shareholders, to secure his $12 million bonus. David Kwan spoke up. Marcus, blame doesn't matter right now. We've got 41 hours before the bank pulls our credit. If that happens, we can't make payroll, we can't pay suppliers, we go into receivership. So fix it. Marcus snapped. We're trying. Amir shot back. But migrating to new servers takes weeks. We don't have weeks. Then find another solution. There was silence. No one spoke, because there was no solution, or so they thought. 3 floors below, William Carter pushed his cleaning cart into the break room. He'd been listening, and he knew something they didn't. There was a solution, but it required something Marcus Steele had never been good at, and that was listening. Naomi Carter stepped out of an Uber in front of Northbridge Dynamics. She was still wearing her graduation gown, diploma tucked under her arm. She looked up at the glass tower, 47 floors. Somewhere in there was her father. She walked through the revolving doors. The lobby was massive, marble floors, chandeliers, a reception desk the size of a car. A security guard looked up. Can I help you? I'm here to see William Carter, Naomi said. The guard frowned. Who, William Carter? He works here. He's a custodian. The guard's expression shifted from professional to dismissive. Staff areas are restricted. You can't. I'm his daughter, Naomi interrupted. It's my graduation day. I just want to see him for 5 minutes. The guard sighed. 3rd floor, service hallway, but make it quick. Naomi nodded and headed for the elevator. 3rd floor, the hallway was gray, fluorescent lights, no windows, and at the far end, mopping the floor, was her father. Naomi's heart broke. While she'd been walking across a stage in a cap and gown, her father had been here. Mopping floors, she walked toward him, looked up, and froze. Naomi. He dropped the mop, and ran to her. They hugged, a long, tight hug, the kind of hug that says everything words can't. You did it, Will whispered, tears in his eyes. You actually did it. We did it, Dad, Naomi said. We did it together. For a moment, everything was perfect, and then, a voice shattered it. What the hell is going on here? They turned. Marcus Steele stood at the end of the hallway, face red, fists clenched, fury radiating from every pore. Marcus Steele had been walking the building, checking on departments, demanding updates, looking for someone, anyone, to blame. And then he'd seen it, a janitor, hugging some woman, in the middle of a workday, while the company was literally burning to the ground. You, Marcus said, pointing at Will, what do you think you're doing? Will stepped forward, shielding Naomi. Mr. Steele, I'm sorry, this is my daughter, she just graduated. I don't care if she just cured cancer, Marcus snapped. You're on company time, you're being paid to work, not to have family reunions in my building. Naomi's eyes widened. Excuse me, she said. Marcus turned to her. Who are you? I'm Naomi Carter, and you're talking to my father, the man who's worked here for 12 years without a single complaint, the man who shows up at 5 a.m. every morning while you're still asleep, the man who... I don't care, Marcus interrupted. He's fired. The words hung in the air. Will's face went pale. Mr. Steele, please, I need this job. Security. Marcus barked into his phone. 3rd floor, service hallway. I need someone escorted out. Naomi stepped forward. You can't do this. Marcus smiled coldly. Watch me. 2 security guards arrived within minutes. They took Will by the arms. Wait. Naomi shouted, Dad. But they were already walking him toward the elevator. Marcus turned to leave, and Naomi, heartbroken, furious, trembling with rage, made a decision she'd regret, or maybe, the best decision of her life. She followed Marcus Steele. Naomi didn't leave the building. Instead, she sat in the lobby, diploma still in her lap, tears streaking her face. She watched her father been taken to the office desk to get his final paycheck. He didn't say a word, looking defeated and heartbroken. Naomi wanted to scream while she saw all these happening, while they were processing her father, but she stayed, not wanting to cause more damages to her father, still hoping Marcus changes his mind, and that's when she heard it. Two men in expensive suits walked past her, talking. "The old man's losing it," one said, completely unhinged. "Did you hear what he did? Fired the janitor, for hugging his daughter. Are you serious? On her graduation day, that is brutal." They paused near the coffee stand. "What's worse," the first man continued, "is that the janitor actually had a solution to the whole Project Sentinel mess." Naomi's head snapped up. "Wait, what?" The second man said, "Yeah, apparently, he used to be some hotshot consultant 20 years ago, overheard him talking to maintenance, said the whole problem could be solved with a phased rollback and load balancing, simple fix, would take 6 hours. Did anyone tell Marcus? Are you kidding? Who's going to tell Marcus Steele that a janitor solved the problem he couldn't?" They laughed, and walked away. Naomi sat there, frozen. Her father had the answer. This whole time, and no one listened, she stood, grabbed her diploma, and made her way to the elevator. She pressed the button. 47th floor, executive suite, Marcus Steele's office. Someone was going to listen, even if she had to make them. The 47th floor was different, polished mahogany, floor-to-ceiling windows, artwork worth more than most people's homes. Naomi walked past the executive assistants. "Excuse me, you can't." She ignored them, and pushed open the double doors to Marcus Steele's office. Marcus looked up from his desk, furious. "Security. Go ahead," Naomi said calmly, "call them, but I'm not leaving until you hear what I have to say." Marcus stared at her, this young woman, graduation gown still on, diploma tucked under her arm, walking into his office like she owned the place. He almost admired it, almost. "You have 30 seconds, he said coldly. Naomi stepped forward. "You're about to lose everything. Project Sentinel is failing, your credit line is frozen, you've got, what, 38 hours before you default." Marcus's jaw tightened. How do you know that? "Because your employees talk, and unlike you, Mr. Steele, I actually listen. Get to the point." Naomi smiled. "The solution to your problem is simple. You don't need new servers, you need load distribution, phased rollback of the AI integration. Temporary manual processing for critical shipments while you rebalance the cloud architecture, 6 hours of work, maybe 8. Marcus blinked. "Who told you that?" "A man who worked in logistics consulting for 23 years, a man who built operational frameworks for companies twice the size of Northbridge, a man who knows more about your business than half the people on your executive team." She paused. "The same man you fired an hour ago, for hugging his daughter." The room went silent. Marcus stood slowly. "The janitor. His name," Naomi said firmly, "is William Carter, and yes, the janitor." Marcus laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "You're telling me a janitor, someone who mops floors, has the answer to a $180 million crisis?" Naomi stepped closer. "No, Mr. Steele, I'm telling you that you're so blinded by your ego, you can't see value unless it's wearing a suit." Marcus's face turned red. "How dare you?" "My father," Naomi continued, voice rising, "spent the last 12 years invisible to you, cleaning your offices, listening to your meetings, watching your decisions, and you know what he told me?" She leaned on his desk. "He said you used to be different. When Northbridge was small, when you actually cared about people, but success turned you into something else, someone who sees employees as numbers, as disposable." Marcus opened his mouth to respond, but stopped, because she was right, and he knew it. Naomi softened her tone. "You want to save your company, Mr. Steele. Then climb down from your tower, and start listening to the people who actually make it run. She turned to leave. Wait, Marcus said. Naomi stopped. This plan, load distribution, phased rollback, would it actually work? Yes. How do you know? Because 20 years ago, my father saved a company from the exact same crisis, mid-tier logistics firm, system overload. He designed the fix in 48 hours, and it worked. Marcus sat down, his hands trembled. Where is he now? Probably at home, figuring out how to pay rent, since you just fired him. Marcus looked out the window, at the Toronto skyline, at the empire he'd built, and for the first time in years, he felt small. 2 hours later, 4 p.m., Marcus Steele called an emergency board meeting. The executive team filed in, confused, anxious and exhausted. Marcus stood at the head of the table. I'm going to say something I've never said before, he began. Everyone leaned forward. I was wrong. This company is failing because of me, not because of the technology, not because of bad luck, because I stopped listening. David Kwan frowned. Marcus, what are you? The solution to Project Sentinel was here all along. One of our employees identified it, but I was too arrogant to hear it. Who? Rebecca Torres asked. Marcus took a breath. William Carter, blank stares. The custodian? Amir Hassan said slowly. Yes, someone laughed. Marcus's eyes flashed. William Carter has 23 years of logistics consulting experience, an MBA from Western. He's worked on multi-million-dollar operational frameworks, and for the last 12 years, he's been mopping our floors. Because life broke him, the room went quiet. He checked the address, Unit 314, he climbed the stairs, and knocked. Footsteps approached, the door opened. William Carter stood there, still in his work uniform, eyes red from crying. He saw Marcus Steele, and his expression hardened. Mr. Carter, Marcus said quietly, may I come in? Will hesitated, then stepped aside. The apartment was tiny, one bedroom, small kitchen, a couch that doubled as Will's bed. But it was clean, organized, loved. Photos of Rose and Naomi covered the walls. Marcus stood awkwardly. I owe you an apology, he began. WHE said nothing. What I did today was inexcusable. You've worked for me for 12 years, without complaint, without recognition, and the one time you showed human emotion and destroyed you. Will jaw tightened. You didn't just fire me, Mr. Steele. You humiliated me, in front of my daughter, on the proudest day of her life. Marcus nodded. I know, no you don't. Will's voice cracked. You know what it's like to sacrifice everything. To work yourself to the bottom. Be invisible. You know what it is. I don't know what to say, but I know this way. My company is failing, and the only person who can save me is you. Will laughed bitterly, so that is why you're here. Because you need me, not because you're sorry, but because you're desperate. Get out of this apartment. I don't want you in my house. I don't want you to ever come back. Will shouted. Marcus flinched, but he didn't leave. Instead, he did something he'd never done before. He sat down, on the floor, and he looked up at William Carter. You're right, Marcus said. I'm desperate. My company is dying. That's not why I'm here. Then why are you here? Said Will. Because your daughter walked into my office today. She reminded me of something I forgot. She reminded me of how I married William. Will's eyes widened. Marcus stood slowly. I'm offering you a position, senior operations consultant, $240,000 salary, full benefits, equity options, a seat at the table. Will stared. I don't want your money, Mr. Steele. Then what do you want? Marcus said. Will stepped closer. I want you to treat your people with dignity. I want you to see them, to hear them, to remember that without them you're nothing. Marcus nodded. It's done. I will do all you have said. I will treat my staffs right from today, but you got to help me. Will asked surprisingly, do you mean what you just said? Yes I do, Marcus said. Will walked to his small kitchen table, picked up a piece of paper and handed it to Marcus. It was an email, sent to him. It was printed, and it read. From Rogers Communications. To William Carter. Subject, offer of employment, work advisor position. Marcus read it, salary, $195,000. Start date, June 16, 2024, location, Toronto Beach. Will smiled. I got this email this morning. Before you fired me, I was going to give you notice next week. Marcus looked up. You were leaving me. Yes, because I realized something, Mr. Steele. I don't need you, but maybe you need me. Marcus handed the email back. Take the Rogers job. He said quietly, you deserve better than anything. Better than you. Will asked, it will survive. Marcus turned toward me. Wait, Will said, what's the real plan? Or Marcus said. Marcus sighed. We're out of options. Low distribution, Will said, phased roadmap, processing, rebalance the ground market stages. Marcus turned and said, you help me fix this problem. Yes, I'll help your people. They don't deserve to lose their jobs because of your mistakes. Will grabbed his coat. Let's go. 9:47 p.m. Northbridge Dynamics. The executive team was still there, exhausted, defeated, waiting for the inevitable. The conference room doors opened. Marcus walked in, and behind him was William Carter. Everyone stared. This is William Carter, Marcus announced, and for the next 12 hours, he's running this operation. David Kwan stood. Marcus, what are you trying to do? Sit down, David, unless you have a better option or a solution. Will stepped forward. He looked at the room, at the executives in their expensive suits, at the white boards covered in failed solutions, and he smiled. Alright, here's what we're going to do for the next 2 hours. Will Carter outlined the plan, detailed, precise and driven. He identified the exact failure points, mapped the load distribution, designed a phased rollback sequence. The executives listened, some skeptical, some amazed, but they were all impressed. By midnight, the plan was in motion. Engineers worked through the night, and were coordinating, while Marcus watched, and slowly, the system stabilized. By 6 a.m., Project Sentinel was operational. Shipments moving, inventory tracking, and market satisfied. The crisis was over. Northbridge had survived. 3 days later, Marcus Steele called the company right. Every employee, all 47 floors gathered in the main room. Marcus stood on the platform. Microphone opened. 3 days ago, he began. This company almost died. We almost lost everything. We could ship it. I'd spent the last 50 building Northbridge into what it is today, but in the process, I forgot something crucial. I forgot that a company isn't buildings, it's not software, it's not stock prices. Marcus looked across the crowd. A company is people. He gestured to his left. And the person who saved this company isn't on the executive team. William Carter stepped onto the platform. Gasps rippled through the crowd. This is William Carter, Marcus said. Many of you know him. He's worked here for 12 years, and 3 days ago, I fired him. Shock, confusion, I fired him, Marcus continued, because I was blind, arrogant. I saw a uniform instead of a person. I saw a janitor instead of a genius. Will looked uncomfortable, but Mr. Carter did something remarkable. Even after I humiliated him, he came back, not for me, but for you. Marcus turned to me, Mr. Carter, on behalf of Northbridge Dynamics, I'm sorry, and I'm asking you, publicly, to join the leadership team. The crowd erupted, applause, cheers, Will smiled, and shook Marcus's hand. But when the microphone was handed to him, he surprised everyone. Thank you, Mr. Steele, but I'm declining your offer. I've accepted a position at Rogers Communications. I start working. But I want to leave you all with something, a lesson I learned in hardware, and a different hospitality. Your job doesn't define your work, your title doesn't measure your value. December 14, 2024, William Carter sat in his new office, Rogers Communications, Senior Board Advisor, Corner Office, view of Lake Ontario. A knock on the door, "Come in, Will call." Naomi walked in, holding a folder. "Dad, you're not going to believe this." "What?" Will asked. She handed him the folder. "I got a job offer." Will opened it. Northbridge Dynamics, Senior Strategic Analyst, $120,000 salary, signed by Marcus Steele himself. Will looked up. "Are you going to take it?" Naomi smiled. "What do you think?" Will laughed. "I think Marcus Steele finally learned his technique. Maybe he just knows a good thing standing in front of him." She hugged her father. "Thank you, Dad, for everything." Will held her tight. "Sweetheart, thank you, because in the end, it wasn't Marcus Steele who changed the world. It was the people who overlooked the invisible ones. The ones who cleaned floors, the ones who graduated against all odds, the ones who knew the world, the ones they did. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you truly saw someone? Not their title, not their name, not their paycheck, but their worth. Because greatness doesn't always wear a suit. Sometimes it wears a janitor's uniform. Sometimes it's invisible until you choose to see it. William Carter taught Marcus Steele a lesson. Humility is more powerful than wealth. It really matters more than success. And we have been talking about the foundation of everything we do. If this story touched your heart, wanting you to see the invisible, then you know. Share it, tell someone, because the world needs more William Carters, including Marcus Steeles. What lesson did you take from this story? Have you ever been invisible? Have you ever overlooked someone, only to realize they were extraordinary? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and remember, the next time you walk past someone cleaning your office, say hello, learn their name, because you never know, they might just be the person who saves your entire world. Thank you for listening. This has been the Janitor's Wisdom. Please like, subscribe and hit the notification bell for more interesting stories like this. God bless you as you do so.